so therefore you can't segment it at all. You have to do it single segment pretty much. Now, a single segment run is what I like to call going all the way in one long pull. You basically cannot save and quit. Now, if you believe that saving and dying will somehow yield a faster run, and there are runs in which this is the case, look at the Super Mario RPG run that should be hopefully going up soon on SDA if it's not already there. That's perfectly acceptable. And a segmented run is basically the opposite, where you can play a little bit of the game and then save, and then quit and come back to it. Now, a lot of role-playing games tend to be segmented runs because it helps to think of a segmented run as basically a bunch of little mini-runs that you kind of stitch together into one complete package. And a lot of role-playing games are about beating bosses at the lowest level humanly possible. Yeah, I opened that door because it was going to get really hot in here really quickly.
Yeah. I just wanted to get the cool out. Now it'll make sure to stay at a certain level.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's alright. Yay, come in, come in. Where was I? Yes, segmented runs are basically putting together a bunch of little mini runs, and RPGs are very, very good for this, because a lot of times the main strategy for an RPG run is get everywhere at as low a level as you possibly can. And so at really low levels, you likewise have very low chances of actually accomplishing what you want to do. So it's a lot easier to segment role-playing game runs, because if you screw something up or you just don't get that 1 in a million shot of actually beating your boss, you will really only have lost a good 10 minutes of time. Versus in a single segment run, especially of newer RPGs, you can lose hours upon hours of time. So once you've decided whether you're doing a segmented or a single segment run, your next step is to do your research, which is a very exhausting step. I'm getting tired just looking at that picture. Now, video game guides and video game magazines are nice and all, but they're kind of limited in their application as far as speedrunning goes, in that they're really geared toward more of a casual audience. And a lot of times the safe way to beat that difficult boss or that difficult level is very much at odds, or actually contradictory to the fastest way to do that. Can I have those back, please?
Oh, I thought those were,
No. There are handouts. They are actually the ones over here.
Okay.
2 steps forward. Over here with little business cards.
Oh, gotcha.
What you were picking up were my notes, so I don't look like more of a goofball than I do at present.
Oh, I apologize.
That's alright. So, guides and things are nice, but they're limited because the safe way is often at odds with the fastest way to do things. And in the case of video game strategy guides, there's an additional problem, especially with ones that come out at the same time as the release of a game. These tend to be based on actually late beta builds of games, as opposed to the final releases. So sometimes things will change, and for a time the strategy guide will actually be flat out wrong as to how to do things even casually, let alone quickly. So if you want to take these resources with a grain of salt, what do you do? Well, this is pretty important, and I'm actually going to leave it up on the screen because it is that important. The internet is wonderful, you should use it. Now, SDA is one great resource. They actually have a casual speedrunning board, so that even if you don't intend to necessarily submit a run to them, you can go on the casual speedrunning board and you will likely find like-minded individuals who play your game, know it pretty well, etc. Also, some of the more popular series will probably have their own dedicated speedrunning communities, one of which is ZeldaSpeedruns.com. Would anyone like to venture a wild guess as to what ZeldaSpeedruns.com is dedicated to?
Zelda. Scott Fitzgerald's wife.
I was going to say it's actually a John Romero's Daikatana site, but I like your answer better.
Okay.
No, it actually is a Zelda speedrunning site. It gives special focus actually to the 64+ bit Zeldas, in other words anything Ocarina of Time or later. Although they do have forums where you can ask for help with any of the Zelda games you like. And when you do your research, you want to research every little thing if you can. If the game has its own dedicated wiki to game mechanics, you want to look that up. You'll probably want to go on GameFAQs and look up any FAQs for it, because that will yield things that you may not have thought were obvious. And to illustrate this point, how many of you have ever played Final Fantasy VI before? Okay, if you were a big gamer in the heady pre-internet days, maybe you once called it Final Fantasy III when it first came out in the States. Now, when you think of the final battle sequence of Final Fantasy VI, you probably think of your army of characters with thousands and thousands of hit points, dealing and receiving 4-digit damage to this multi-tiered monstrosity that culminates in a what the heck do you mean it's not symbolic angel fight with Kefka. What I'm about to show you makes a complete mockery of that. This is the final boss sequence of Final Fantasy VI, run by Carrie Essentia Johnson. This is the longest video I'll show, but I think it's worth it. I think you'll be impressed. And besides, who doesn't love 7 minutes of dancing mad?
Oh, I like the bass on that. That sounds good. Wow.
What do they call it? Feminist now?
Character eliminations, I believe, right?
That's my guess, yeah. I've never really bothered to think about it that much, but that would be my guess.
Either that or it's this translation.
Also very possible.
Hey guys, I'm here to watch the film with you guys though too. Hey guys, what film is it?
Final Fantasy VI last speedrun.
Hey, I love that game. Hey, I love that game, Final Fantasy. How cool is it? I can watch a little and then I'll try a different one.
What the? Oh boy, I know what he's doing. case you happen to be a fan of Final Fantasy VII, you should know that Nobuo Uematsu believes this is not only his favorite music, but his favorite game. He said so in Anime Boston.
Play it.